Hello, welcome back. Today we carry on with trigonometry. In the previous video of trigonometry, we did the basics, what you have learned in grade 11, and a little bit of what you've learned in grade 10. So now we're just gonna do what adds on in grade 12, the compound angle, the special, and the double angles. So let's just start with a recap with the identities. We know the identities. What are the identities? Identities, the first one tells us that sine squared A plus cos squared A always is equals to 1, meaning everything that we replaces with A. For instance, we can say sine squared 65 plus sine plus cos, I need to say cos x cos squared 65 degrees. This will all forever be equals to 1. As long as this and this are the same and it's squared both sides, then it's gonna be 6 to 1 though. So sine squared 100 plus cos squared 100 is equals to 1 always. That's what this identity means. And another identity is that general one, whereby it tells us that tan A always is equals to sine A over cos A. A being any number or any degrees being any angle. Then those are our identities which we need to be careful of. And from here, from this one, we can derive that sine A squared is the same as 1 minus cos squared A. Just taking this to the other side. Or we can take sine squared A and leave cos. Cos squared A is the same as what? 1 minus x sine x sine A squared sine squared A is the same. They're the same. So yeah, that's what this the first part really tells us. Then moving straight into it, we can go to compound. All these are the basic rules for the game when we will be defining general solution or when we will be proving. Then we will need all this. That's why I'm just putting them down here. It's like rules of the game before we play, because we can't just solve or find general solution or prove that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side while we don't know the rules of the game. So bear with me if I'm slow on this. So compound angles are those ones whereby they tell you that if you have a cos into an angle A and then you minus B, then this is the same as saying cos of the angle A times cos another cos of the angle B. Because it's minus, then now it becomes plus sine. See, with cos, you say cos, sine, but because it's plus, then it becomes negative on the other side. Then it's going to be sine of A again times sine of B, right? If it's minus, this side becomes positive with cos. Then if here it changes to be positive, as well here it changes to be minus, but this remains the same. I hope that makes sense for cos. And for sine is a different story, so it's advisable that you know the difference. Then if you have a minus b, I mean to say minus b, then what happens is that you start with sine for a of a and then cos now of b. But because this is minus, even here the sign still remain the same. Minus minus, it changes with cos. And but then now since you started with sine, on the other side you start with cos, then it's going to be cos of a times the sine of b. So you just need to figure out a way to cram all this. Then If this, then the negative becomes a positive, then even here it becomes a positive. The sign doesn't change with sign, it only changes with cos. And with, yeah, I guess you can memorize this, but if you don't have, you can't memorize, it's okay. This compound angles are always given in the formula sheet, but it's with time, as you practice, it will be easy to recognize, it will be easy to just know by head, it will just come naturally. It's the rules of the game. Who forgets that in a soccer match you're not allowed to hold the ball with your hands as long as you're not the goalkeeper? No one forgets, right? Yes. And another rules of the game is to know your special angles. Your special angles, all it means is that if you press them on a special angle, if you press them on your calculator with one of the trig ratios, they're going to give you a special answer. And yes, so those angles are 0, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees, and 90 degrees. You can all go around in all the quadrants, meaning your 135 degrees are your special degree angles, your 270 are special angles, your 180 are special angles. These are only the special angles in the first quadrant. So yeah, you just need to know that if you press them, maybe if you have like cos 0 degrees, it's how much? Let me see. Cos 0 degrees, it's 1. You see, it gives us an answer. Cos 45, it should give us an answer as well. Cos 45, it gives us the square root of 2 over 2. But if maybe you are pressing cos 65, it will not give us a normal or a real number like these ones, or a value you can work with. It's just going to give us something in the decimals. Let's say cos 65, so it's 0.42261. So and then it keeps going. You can't use this one, it's going to be a burden. It's better if you only use the special angles, right? We are done with the special angles definitions. If you have any query, please let me know as soon as you listen to this video, so that we solve and we assist each other. Then we move to the double angles now. Double angles. Then after after explaining double angles, we do what? We do exercises, just to ensure that everybody understands. The double angles. What does the double angle say? For instance, it's still the part of the rules of the game. We're going to use this throughout. If you have cos double angle, meaning we have two angles, cos 2a. 2a is not an exponent, it's just 2a, meaning we have a plus a, if you like to put it that way. Then it's going to take you somewhere to the compound, but it's okay. You just know that if you have cos 2k, 2a, it's always, you can simplify, or you can expand it by saying it's cos squared a minus cos minus sine squared a. The angles is always the same. If here it's 2b, then bb. Remember, this is not the same as the first identity. The first identity start with sine, this start with cos, and then this one says plus, this one says negative. So it's not the same. So another double angle goes to sine, whereby you have 2a. As well, this expands to 2 sine a, it doesn't have a squared, times cos a as well. So you just have to know all these things, so that you, when you encounter them, you don't get into trouble. You need to know this one and this one coming from the original, this one 3. You need to know this one, no, this one is the same. You need to know this one as well, that tan a is equal to sine a over cos a. You need to know this one and this one, the compound angles. The special angles, you just have to note. You can just prove check if it's a special angle by pressing it on a calculator. If it gives you a fraction, then it's a special angle. If it doesn't, it's not. You need to know this as well, and as well as the two double angles. Then from there, you know almost everything, and then it goes back to, you know what is sine A. It gives you what? Your opposite over hypotenuse side on a right angle triangle, and then you cos A is equal to adjacent side over hypotenuse on the right angle triangle, and then we know as well tan theta is the same as opposite over hypotenuse. Then you're good to go. You know this, you know this, you know this. I've done them in another video. Hopefully you haven't forgot, or you can just go back and watch the video. Um I will as well drop a link in the description box below. And yes, from here let's jump straight into trying to use this before we end for today, and see whether we understand or not. Of course, there's always a room for practice. Practice makes perfect. We'll forever do more practice with time. Let's say now you have cos into A plus 60. We know 60 is a special angle, right? This, it can be expanded using this compound angle rule, the below one, right? It's plus, then it's going to be cos into cos A times cos again into 60, because 60 now it replaces B. It's plus, then the sign changes to minus because you're dealing with cos. Then sine A times sine 60. Then this will lead to what? This will lead to being cos A multiplied by, in brackets, we know what is cos 60. You can use the calculator. It tells us it's 1 over 2. Then we just substitute with 1 over 2 minus sine A, we don't know. Then sine 60. What is sine 60? It tells us that is the square root of 3 over 2. Then in this case, it's simplified. Cos A and sine A are not like terms, then you just leave it like this. Same applies if you have cos A minus 60. All will happen, the first rule is going to be cos and cos. It's going to be cos A times cos, not sine, cos 60 again. Don't be mistaken and put negative 60 here. No, the minus only changes here, whereby it becomes positive. This is just B, using the first here, the upper one, the black one. Then sine A, and then sine 60 again. Then this is well simplified too. This is cos. This is, then you can, we know cos 60 is half. You see here, then you can just write it in the right order. Say half cos A. Makes sense as the coefficient. And then this is plus, and then this is square root of 3 over 2 over sine A. You can write it like that if you like to. Then it's easy to use. Let's say now that let me change color, that they want us to solve. They say solve what? Solve cos into A plus 60, solve plus cos into A minus 60. Right, then as we solve, we know that this can be expanded to this, and as well this, it can be expanded to this using the compound angle. Then we'll end up having this plus that, whereby this and this are in like terms, but then we add them together, right? And then we're going to have 1 over 2 cos A, this one minus sine A into square root of 3 over 2, this one plus this plus is this plus, and then cos minus, it comes down here and then it becomes half cos A plus square root of 3 over 2 sine A. Remember, this is a plus, there should be brackets so that this plus multiply, but in this case it's a plus, it already multiplied. Then this and this are like terms and it's minus plus, then they cancel out. We are only left with half cos A, half cos A. Then half plus half, it likes terms, it comes to 1 cos A. Half and half is close to 1, and then it just becomes cos A. So this is the answer to solving that. Good. I hope everybody is happy until this point. Then if we have, what do we have? If they can say the last very least one, I hope it's going to squeeze. Let me use a brownish color. If we have cos squared 65 minus sine squared 65. Does this looks familiar? Yes, it looks familiar. Look at this, cos squared A 65 minus sine squared 65 is this one. They look familiar. Then we can simply just reverse it and just say this is the same as saying cos without squared into 2 times our A. What's our A? Our A is 65. You see where these two come from is part of the equation here. Then we're going to end up with cos being 65 times 2, it's 130. Then 130 is not a special angle. I guess you just leave your answer as cos 130. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I hope adding too much value to your brains, and don't make my videos a substitution for you to listen in class. Please still listen to your teachers, respect your teachers, and engage with them. Ask them more questions and ask me more questions, and then you do more activities, and the more you do, the better you understand. Thank you. Enjoy your day.